A biblical perspective on life, culture and current events. This is 2020 on Vision.
Let's turn our attention back to some of the activity that is brewing around the nation. Things that you might be very excited about, especially if you are in a pro-life space. In other words, you're anti-abortion. You're wanting to see some reform where there are obvious things that are going on in our nation which nobody ought to be turning a blind eye to. They need our attention for reform and transformation. Well, one of the exciting things that is going on is the formation of churches that have become houses of refuge for people who have unplanned pregnancies. Well, Jodie Pickard is the founder of Love Australia. Jodie's joining us. Hey, Jodie, welcome back to 2020.
Oh, thank you, Neil. It's a pleasure to be here.
Jodie, we started talking about this some time back, and then it was just an aspiration. But now there are some runs on the board. There are churches that are stepping up, and they're called Houses of Refuge churches. What does that all mean?
Okay, so it's a ministry that I saw in the US in 2022, and when I saw the idea, I just was so taken by it that I've brought the idea back to Adelaide. I showed it to the Love Adelaide then board, now Love Australia, and we've rolled this ministry out now, and we've officially got 15 House of Refuge churches in Australia and one in New Zealand. So we've started to get them in place. What it basically is it's an intentional way of saying that you are a life-affirming church. The baseline of it is that the leadership of the church, the pastor, agrees to read out a statement. Now, it was the statement that I was shown in the US that got my attention, and this statement is profound. And when you read it, you just think, of course, we all agree with that, but it's not actually being said well enough that when I read the statement, I did think to myself, I know my pastors agree with that. I know they're fully behind what we do with the Walk for Life, but does everyone in our congregation know where we actually stand if they found themselves in an unplanned crisis pregnancy?
Is that statement downloadable so that listeners today could put that statement in the hands of the leadership or, the governing body in their local church to be able to consider?
Absolutely. So they can go to, all one word, houseofrefuge.org.au. We're actually building a whole new website. So very soon, maybe not too far away, we're going to have a much more detailed website. If people want more details, they can just email me at info@houseofrefuge.org.au, and I can send a more detailed document which explains in what this is. But the statement is on the website, so they can go and have a read of that. That is the foundation of it. And what the pastor's agreeing to at that point is that from the pulpit, he'll read that statement out, he or she, twice a year, every year. So it's an ongoing thing that twice a year this statement is being read out. And then the church appoints a representative, at least one person. Some churches have appointed a couple of people. And Love Australia, we actually equip them. We put them through training. It's all online, self-paced, and we give them some really, really great tools about how to help their church to become life-affirming. And it's not just, Neil, about the crisis pregnancies. It's also about those who have abortion in their past, knowing that it's a safe place and that we can lead those people to healing through Bible studies or healing retreats. There's different options all over Australia. And also to bring this life message through the whole of the church, even all the way down, Neil, into the children's church, so that our children are being given the truth about even their fetal development in the womb. If they see those models, so we're even suggesting borrow them from a pregnancy resource centre, take them into children's church and say to the kids, look, when you were growing in mum's tummy, when you were 8 weeks, look how big you were. You know, you had all your arms and legs, all your organs. Your heart was beating at 21 days. And then, you know, at this stage, you know, look how much bigger you are. So that this truth will go deep into them, so that the lies that are out there that somehow we're just getting rid of tissues in an abortion is absolutely just destroyed by the truth, and those children will hold firm to that for the rest of their life.
There are age-appropriate ways of communicating these things, and yes, the children need to hear that life-affirming message too. You've got 15 of these House of Refuge churches. They're agreeing to read out the statement. They're appointing people who can represent good values when it comes to life issues in their local church. Is this the start? Is it like the foundation for whole dimensions of church life to begin to take on a tremendous community support strategy for people who have unplanned pregnancy, whether it's having the sorts of resources within the local church to be able to support people with unplanned pregnancy, or the ways that you can direct people into the right places? Is this one way that you can start to really transform and do something really effective in your community?
Oh, Neil, the vision for this is so huge. You know, when we've stopped and thought about that, imagine if every church in Australia was a house of refuge. I think that really would almost constitute revival. Like it is so profound, the impact that it can have to a community, even to the congregation initially. We very strongly believe that this has been given first and foremost to the church, literally like putting our own oxygen mask on first. You know, we need to make sure that we're healthy and we're strong before we go and help anyone else. And so, you know, we know scripturally that, you know, the world will see the love that we have one for another, and that's what will draw them. And so when we start caring for each other in this way, because there are women within our churches that are actually turning to the abortion clinic instead of turning back to their church families, because they probably are in a place where they're just not sure how they'll be viewed. They don't know if they will be rejected. And that's why that statement just clears the air completely from all of that. And it also puts all of us on notice about how we're going to respond to somebody in that situation.
And it's certainly not just a crisis time for a few, is it? Because with as many as up to 90,000 abortions each year in Australia, it means that right across our communities, our cities, our regional areas, our country towns, there's a need for churches to be supportive of people who have these unplanned pregnancies. I know you like to talk about the church. It's not just an organisation, but you like to talk about the organism of the church. How does that apply, do you think, into a pro-life setting that you've got set up with some of these House of Refuge churches?
Well, it's the greatest organism on the earth, is the body of Christ, you know, and it's alive and it's active and it's moving, and we are the hands and feet of Jesus. And when we see ourselves as that, well, then, you know, we're still on mission. You know, he's not finished yet. There are still things that we need to do, and this is the greatest moral issue of all humanity or throughout all time. You know, the data is hard to collect from all over the world, but some people have tried to put it together, and they are estimating that in the last 50 years, 1.5 billion, not million, it's millions every year, it's 1.5 billion babies' lives have ended through abortion. So, you know, there is nothing that's come close to this. No war, no plague, no genocide, nothing has come close to the numbers of lives that have been ended through this practice. And so as the body of Christ, it is our responsibility to stand in the gap for these most vulnerable, and also for the mothers. I often talk about in James, where it says about pure religion. What is pure religion before God the Father? And that is to look after the widows and the orphans. And in the Bible, the widows are those who don't have a husband. And today, you know, it's very obvious when somebody's husband has passed away. But our single mums, they are the widows of our generation. You know, they don't have husbands. And the terminology for a orphan is someone who's been abandoned by both mum and dad. Now, when that baby is being walked into that clinic by the mum, that child is abandoned by her and by the father. So these are our orphans, are these babies that are being taken in and their lives are being ended. So it is absolutely imperative that the Christians get involved here and say, please, we are here to help you in any way we can. Whatever you need to continue this pregnancy, we are here to support you.
Well, you've got 15 House of Refuge churches so far, and the number, I know there's an aspiration to see that double, triple, multiply many, many times through 2025. And there might be listeners today ready to just download that statement that gets read out in church that really is the spark that sets something alight in people to do something very important in their communities, and supporting people with unplanned pregnancies. To connect with Jodie, you can do so, and you might want to simply download that statement and put it in the hands of people who are leading your local church. You can do that at a website called houseofrefuge.org.au. No doubt there's a link to there on the loveaustralia.org.au website too. Jodie Pickard is founder of Love Australia. Jodie, thanks so much for your update today on 2020.
Thank you, Neil.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.